Hello, I'm Frost, and welcome to my in-depth guides for Age of Wonders Planetfall, where I look at a particular faction and a particular secret tech, and through gameplay, skipping through to the important parts, I look at the various strategies and tactics that you can use with said faction and secret tech. This time round, it's a DLC special. We're going to be playing with the Shakarn, the lizard people, and the Heritor secret tech, the Shakarn coming with the Invasions DLC, and the Heritor which came from the Revelations DLC. Okay, so we are on the commander customization screen. As you can see, I've picked the Shakarn and the Heritor. So the Shakarn gets some bonuses. The first one is aquatic deployment because they're amphibious creatures. They also get a long-term bonus, which gives them racial tech research, which is 10% faster. So to go with that, I'm going to go on the perk side with veteran, which is also, if I click on it, there we go, is going to give me 15% experience bonus on combat experience as well. So hopefully we can climb up that research tree nice and quick. Then we have Infiltrate Operations Center to steal other people's tech, which is pretty handy. We have obviously the Sound Weapon Group, which is specific to the Shakarn. And you have these Omni weapons that combine both sound and laser. So normally I would have gone for Promethean with the Shakarn. I think that's a good mix, or Celestian because of the NPC bonuses. But in this case, obviously I wanted to do a DLC special, so we've gone with the Heritor. Now the Heritor obviously work on the basis of essence, where they siphon off this essence energy and then use it to then buff up their damage and abilities on enemy units, as we'll see as we progress through the game. And then also with the Shakarn, we've obviously got the hologram capabilities and obviously the teleport, and then the use of propaganda to influence both their own people and the enemy. So as I said, we've gone for veteran. We're going to go for a data repository as well, because obviously we want to push up our research as quickly as possible, especially for this kind of video. And then I've gone for the Shakarn heavy equipment. So we get the Omni Cannon and the Sono Pistol. So we get the kind of Shakarn weapons up front and ready to go. And then if I go click on to next, here we are. She's a fine lady. This is a no-list rocket. She is my commander. And she's looking mighty fine there in her purple and white. And obviously her green skin. But anyway, so what we're going to do now is we're going to do done. And then we're going to land on the planet and we're ready to get started. Okay, so we're on the start screen rather than on a planet. The reason why I wanted to bring this up is actually we've got, I always take the default settings for everything so that we can get a good comparison between all the various in-depth videos that I've done. And one of the things obviously that is random is the water to land ratio. Now here we can see we have 42% water and 58% land, which is actually going to work to our benefit because the Shakarn are amphibious, which means they don't have to get on ships in order to be able to travel over water. So that's going to give us great movement and is going to hopefully get us off to a really good start. Also, we can get a bonus, which we'll see later on with the doctrines, where we get a bonus for being on a coastal or a river for our colony. Here we go, we're landing. You've got to love that spaceship, right? It's just this lovely egg. There we go. And I do like the little pond that they have as well for their creatures. Right, so there we go. So we've landed. We're in a very marshy territory there. But there is a river going through our colony, which is great. But I don't see any coastal waters at the moment. So obviously we're going to have to go and do our exploring. So it'll be the usual setup when we start. First thing we need to do is go in, get our biofarm going so that we can get our growth up on our first colony as quickly as possible. We get aquatic deployment as standard with the Shakarn, as I mentioned earlier. We have a little unit here, which is my recon, which we're going to go and send off exploring. So if you've seen my beginner tips, you know that you want to go north and south first, try and find the edges of the map, see whether you're closer to the top or the bottom, and then afterwards you start going off to the sides. And then this Anolis, I think we're going to send off, let's see, that's a 480, that's a 320. Yeah, let's start off with a nice easy one. So on the next turn, which we can do now because it will happen pretty quickly, that will open up our research trees. Here we go. And now we could take a look at our research trees. So the first thing, we got deafening frequencies as a bonus because of the options that I took for the commander customization. So what we'll do is we'll then do discerning systems, then heavy laser applications, then gifted via STEC. Just do always all the tier 1s to start with to get you off to a good start. So we'll do a research on that. And then we got aquatic deployment, as I said, as standard with the Shakarn. We got given food deployment as well, which is good because that means we can use that pretty much early on to get the food sector upgrades, which will speed up our growth. And we're going to want to get our doctrine in place as quickly as possible. And we've got 2 options. We've got dwelling intimidation, which allows us to get NPC factions on our side by a discount, so it costs us less to deal with NPC factions. Or we get homeworld reminiscence, which is the one I just mentioned a minute ago, which basically gives you a bonus of plus 12 on your food and plus 4 morale if there's a coastal or river feature in the domain, which we do. So we will probably take that unless we need to deal with an NPC faction early in the game. So we'll do Planetfall procedures, then we'll get frontier facilities so we can get our colonizer as quickly as possible, and then obviously area surveillance, which leads us to operation effectiveness so that we can use our tactical operations as quickly as possible. All right, so we're going to research that, and I think I'm good to go. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a little bit of exploring. As you know, the first 10 turns is just kind of getting set up and sending your scouts out, and we don't want to fill up the video with that. We want to get onto the good stuff a little bit later in the game. So I will catch up with you soon with some more news. Right, so we've made it to turn 10. I've been keeping myself busy. The first thing is I managed to find the other Shakarn colony that was nearby, the settlement. And I managed to get 45 influence and took down a little recon unit down here and took it over. The only thing is I have a spawner nest like literally right next door, and I've got all these marauders around. So one of the things I did was unusual, is that rather than just training the biofarm straight away, I tried to get my military infrastructure in place. And as you can see right now, I've got these guys here, which is an army power of 380, and my militia is only 280 by default. But I have enough energy so that I can do a buy it now, and I'm going to do that, and then that's immediately pushed up my militia to 490, which means I can actually defend this new colony rather than just falling out straight away and then having to send my unit down. I've also built a colonizer, which I've literally just done in this moment. I have annexed another sector, and this sector gets a bonus to energy, which was great. So the first colony, the main colony sector, is biofarm, so farming, food, and then I've got an energy one. This one I'm going to do the same, do biofarm, and then I've got some energy bonuses around. I've got an influence one here, which if I do that site, there's also a resource node for production. And I've met the spacers. They've already sent me on one quest already. They have a settlement over here in Shantytown. To the north, I have found a coastline, which is great because that means that I will have this colony here, this one here. I am going to expand north. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to send my colonizer up to here, and I'm going to take this sector, this kind of frozen sector up here, because there is a cosmite bonus offshore. There's a research bonus there on a research node, and there's a food bonus here on an exploration site. Excuse me. So that looks like a good place to go. It's going to take me a couple of turns to get there because I've got to get across a mountain range. But hopefully once we start getting our roads in place, we'll be able to get out of there fairly easy and move around. Then I've got a hero to join, which I will come on to in a sec. In the meantime, I've been using some of my cosmite already. So I put on the default ones, which is deafening amplifiers and portable scanners, which are both tier 1. So one gives me a 10% bonus to damage, one gives me a bonus to shields, and then I got blurring canisters as a bonus from the spacers for finishing one of their quests. Now what we're going to do is we've got 74 cosmites, so we've got quite a bit. So we're going to start modding up these Shakarn. So we're going to give them the deafening amplifiers, okay, which gives them a status effect, which is great. And then we're going to put on the incinerator module, which gives us a 10% bonus and gives us also a laser status effect, which is great. And then we can add either potentially the STEC confiscator. So we might as well go with the Heritor. So what this will do is that they will basically allow them to use their essence charges to increase damage. And because we've got a cipher in our unit here, which we'll do a manual combat in a sec, so you can see how they're kind of all used together. But the cipher now is going to draw off essence charges, and then we can give them to the raiders to increase their damage. So we are going to put on the confiscator on there as well, and we're going to mod both of those units. and that's going to be done. And then let's have a look at our Heritor quickly. What could we do? We could give him a confiscator as well. No, we'll wait for that, and we'll use that for something else, I think. So we'll keep our cosmite to spare, because we want to build probably another colonizer fairly soon and get ourselves well established with 4 colonies. So I'm going to deal with this hero. I don't have enough energy because I just spent it building the infrastructure, the military infrastructure. So that was probably a better move. So I'll recruit the hero. He's got a ranged weapon at the moment, which I don't like, so I'm obviously going to change that. That's going to take a bit of cosmite, so I will keep that cosmite to one side. And then finally, I have enabled my doctrine, which is Homeworld Reminiscence, which gives me a +12 food and +4 morale, because I have this river, as you can see, just running right through my colony right there. So I think we're in a good place. We're off to a good start. So I need to obviously join these 2 colonies up if I can as soon as possible. And then once I've got this colonizer in place at Police Peaks, I then need to join that up as well, so that we can get some better movement around our colony and finish more quests quickly. Right, time to move on. Okay, so we're at I believe it's turn 14, and I was just busy doing a sort of a clean up and getting rid of this marauder area, and I just did an auto combat, and obviously I lost a unit there. And so I thought this would be a good time to do a bit of manual combat, and we'll retry and see if we can do better than the situation here where we lost a raider. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a retry and do the manual combat, and I can show you how hopefully all these units work together. Now the biggest problem with these marauders are these guys, the pleasure bots. They have these distraction pheromones, and they can cause a lot of problems. So you really want them taken care of as quickly as possible. Now, as Shakarn raiders, they do not have Overwatch, but they are most effective when they're up close, even though they're ranged, because they have this weapon that's like a lance weapon that can shoot 3 hexes deep. So we need to get them up front, but we've got to try and make sure they don't get distracted. So that's going to make it a little bit tricky. We've only got 2 tactical operations as well. So that leaves us quite limited. But what we're going to do is we're going to try and run them up as much as we can. And then we're going to get our hero in a position where we can get an Overwatch. It's not an ideal Overwatch, to be honest. Let's see if we can move a little bit further. There we go. That's a much better Overwatch. Then we have our Infiltrator, which obviously can assume the form of another creature. So what we're going to do is we're going to try and use the we can't use the the hollow shift on these guys. So that is a real problem as well, because they can't be affected because they're machines, because they're pleasure bots. So that limits what we can do with the Infiltrator. So we're just going to have to go into defense mode at the moment, I think, unless we can get a shot. But might as well use them and get a shot, and hopefully we'll be able to take on the form of that this creature up here, the Liquidator. Right, so we're going to move our stick forwards, and we're going to start gaining some essence charges so that we can... There we go. So we're going to do a siphon so we can then apply that to our raiders who have essence modules in them. And then we'll bring our little guy forwards here, our recon. And we're going to put a buoy over here to cover this kind of area so that we get bonuses, I believe, to damage with the recon buoys. And then let's just get our raiders over to one side. There we go. Yeah, so I believe our recon buoy gets a bonus. Yeah, the 20% easier to hit. That's right. Okay, so let's move on. We will then get our tactical operations. All right, we're going to go for... All right, that was a miss. That was good. So here come the pheromones. There we go. So we've got 3 units distracted. So that's not good. That Reaper as well does quite a bit of damage, so we've got to be careful of that. All right, so at least they missed. That's something. So now, these guys are within the range of our buoys. Now, can we assume the form? Yeah, so we can't assume the form of anything with the with this little guy. So he's going to be in a very bad position. So all he can do is do damage, which is not really his main ability. So we get a 33% on these. Yeah, so we're going to go for the... There we go. So we've got the melee Overwatch cancelled. Then we are going to turn around, and we can't actually assign the Essen siphon yet. I've got no line of sight, so let me move around and see if we can get into a flanking position. There we go. We get a 63% chance there. Okay, we'll take the 95% chance. We've got a fumble, obviously, because of the pheromones. So we only managed to graze. If we can move forwards one, do we get a better chance? No, so we've got 95% chance. If we can just take one of these units down, that'll be a good start. My little guy up here can do some fairly decent damage, especially if we bring him in nice and close. So let's take out the first pleasure bar. And we can then get a shot. So I think we're going to lose our infiltrator, unfortunately, unless I can get a healing charge on. What I should have done was use my tactical operation to remove the status effect. That would have been a good move. What we'll do is we'll run these guys right in front there. So then that way, at least that protects the infiltrator. And we'll use our sono weapon, because I think that will do more damage at this range. So hang on, let's zoom in a little bit. There we go. So with the standard Omni cannon, why isn't it like I need to just move around. There we go. So yeah, with the Omni carbine, we don't do anywhere near as much damage. So we're going to use our Omni lance weapon, our Omni rush. There we go. We'll get an overwatch, but that did some pretty substantial damage. So then that leaves us this vehicle at the back and the Reaper over here. So we'll have to see how that pans out. So let's have a look at our operations. So we've got replication restoration, so we'll probably use that next to try and do some healing rather than trying to do damage at this stage. Condemn to drain is something that we can use later on. I don't think at this stage it really helps us. So let's keep our tactical operations to the next turn. Right, we've all been burnt because the site is giving us burning. It's affected everybody though. Okay, and as you can see, we got our epimorphic regeneration, which is giving us some healing, so that's good. Now, yeah, so the Reaper is going to be a problem. So what we're going to do is let's use our replication restoration, and as you can see, it jumps on a 2 hex radius, so it will help everybody. Everybody gets their effects dispelled. So that's pretty powerful. We're going to use our sono weapon at point blank range on this guy. There we go. And we've got a fumble again because of the pheromones. So we didn't do anywhere near as much damage as I would like. Now, if I move to here, we should get a proper flank. There we go. Got a 40% chance, but... Okay, so he's teleported. But that's okay, because it puts us in range now. If we can use our siphon, let me just move around a little bit. So we get a 70% chance. Yeah, we're going to take the siphon with 70%. Those are good odds. Okay, and then we can now... Yeah, 80% with the flanking cannon. That's good. Alright, so we're looking fairly good at the moment. We'll be able to put our boy down in another... So it's got in the next turn. So for now, we've got good health on him. So let's get him over to the side, see if we can get a flanking shot. No, it wasn't a flank. Okay, well, we got a shot in anyway. And then see how we do from there. But hopefully you can see the lance weapon of the Raiders is pretty powerful and it's good to use. Right, we're going to lose the Raiders? Not quite. So we are going to pull these guys back and put them into hiding, I think, and try and save that unit. And we should be able to take him down with just the units that we have. So let's get the siphon in first. Got the energy drain there. Then see, can we get the Raiders to get a flank? I don't think we can. So I've got to be careful they don't get taken out. Yeah, we're just going to go straight in his face, I think, and just shoot at point blank range. There we go. Yeah, that was definitely the best move. And then we'll rush our hero forwards. Oh, hang on, we can get... Yeah, we can get in with our little guy with the sono pulse. And there we go. Right, so that was definitely a better result. We managed to keep everybody just... Oh no, I lost my infiltrator after all. So unfortunately, yeah, so it was either a raider or an infiltrator. At least we didn't lose the mods. So I will create another infiltrator. As you can see, the infiltrator can't work against mechanics, which is a shame. And that was where we had an issue. If we'd had the infiltrator, that would have been a very different story. So what we're going to do now is we're going to have a quick little look at the situation. So I've managed to annex another sector for Silicon Valley. Unfortunately, I can't join these two from west to east. As you can see, there's a mountain range here. And so I can't connect these two, like I said, from west to east, which is a problem. So we're going to have to go around the top. And what I've been doing is I've been moving this chap forwards, my hero. And on the next turn, I need 39 influence. On the next turn, I'll be able to move the spaces out. I'll be able to take this sector, and that will then connect Ivory Fortress to Neo Yora, and then hopefully we can grab Diversity Zone and we can create kind of a triangle or a 3-star kind of colony setup, and that will at least get us sort of connected and going. Then in terms of skills and research, I'm training Operation Effectiveness. That'll be around next turn, so that'll be handy. I'll have more tactical operations to use. I've done all my tier 1s, and then on the military side, done all my tier 1s again. I'm doing Holy Presence, not so much for this one. This is a bit useless. The nearest anomalous site, we can find that pretty easily with our recon units, but more so that we get a nice healing ability, as well as the replication one, which we have for the from the Shakarn. And then after that, we'll go on to photon acceleration. We've also now got the focus sonalysis module, which I actually need to put onto my raiders, as that is an armor melt, and an armor melt is always a great mod to have. So what we'll do is we'll take off we'll keep the incinerator module, and we'll take off the amplifiers and replace them with this mod, as that will then allow us to start melting armor, which will be handy for them when we come in with other units behind it. All right, so I've talked quite a bit here, but there was quite a lot of bits to cover. And then we'll catch up in a few turns and take it from there. We've just moved forwards a couple of turns. We're at turn 16, but a number of things are happening, so this is a good time for an update. So the first thing is we've had a world event. So with the world event, we've had the one that's called the fungal and spore cloud. Now this one's going to cause a problem because every few turns a sector is going to be transformed to fungal. So you can see our screen's kind of gone very green as a consequence. And we don't have as yet the environmental conditioning to be able to remove hazards from a sector. So that's a little bit of a concern, because if it affects one of our colonies, that's going to be a problem, because it's going to affect morale. So I'm a little bit concerned about that. Down to the south here, I bumped into the Amazons. You can see there's a yellow line just right there. So that's the Amazons. There you go, you can see the sector there. And what was interesting was when my scout was down there, my relationship dropped to minus 325. So as you know now, we have personality traits. So we have the strategy trait and the other one, which is the personality trait, I believe. But she shows us compassionate, so that's fine. But clearly she doesn't like people going up to her borders, because as soon as my recon unit moved away, I went back to minus 25. So interesting scenario there. So I've met with Roxana. She's not too happy with me, but I had to use all my influence to move the spaces out to be able to get a sector. So I haven't been able to do any pronouncements and do any compliments. And then I met the Kirko, which is Chin. And Chin is over here to the west. And there's a Kirko colony right there, or Kirko settlement, should I say. And then there's an Amazon settlement right next to the Amazons down here, which is Telendriel. So I assume they're going to take those over fairly soon. So I've got to be aware of these sort of fungal spores. Obviously, I've got to replace my infiltrator. That's going to happen in a minute. First, I'm building another colonizer, which I'm going to pop into Diversity Zone, which is right there. So that will help link all my colonies together and keep everything sort of fairly bunched together as best as I can. Because I'm aware that obviously I don't want to encroach too far to the west. Because I got the Kirko there. I now need to go to the east and see what's over here. I can see that obviously we've got the Spacer settlement here, which is Outlandish Shantytown. But we've got Xenoid, which could either be Kirko or it could be Assembly, I assume. There are some Therians floating around, but I don't know where their settlement is. I assume we'll find out later in the game. My hero will be in a position to join on the next turn with my other commander. with the no list, so that will be good. Now, we can upgrade the commander. One of the things I wanted to show you is what I've done so far with my commander. So I did Vitality 2. I've done piloting as well, so that as soon as we get an air unit, we can then get that unit, because the air units for the Shakarn are good. I then did Call Insider as well. And what this does is it allows the commander to call another unit, which is great for doing exploration sites and so forth. So we get this sleeper agent that appears next to us, and obviously just boosts the numbers of units and makes us less likely to be targeted. And then obviously we've got range specialist and Deadeye, simply because I'm using a melee weapon. Those are important. And I thought, you know what, we're using the Heritor, so let's start using some of the Heritor hero abilities as well. And this allows us to gain an essence charge when we are in defense mode. And then we've got Deadly Sight as well, which is the Deadly Overwatch, which is really good because it gives us a bonus to our crit chance. So now I got the chance to do some more. And I would imagine we're just going to go for Vitality 3 at this stage, just because you always want your commander to stay alive. So at this stage, sort of level 6, that's a good move to take. And then finally, we've got to keep moving our units around. So as you can see, I'm just sort of going around the south of the map here, but I think I'm going to go a little bit further southwest, just a little bit further, oh, there we go. And I bumped into the Syndicate. So there we go. We're on good terms with Famita, so that's good. Makes a change. So I can see there, Famita's the orange. And so I now know that to the southwest, I have the Syndicate. To the northwest, I have the Kyoko. To the south, I have the Amazons. And then I just need to know what's going on to the east. So I kind of got people all around me. So there's clearly going to be some combat happening at some point pretty soon. And we're going to have to see how that plays out. We're now at turn 21. And the world event is finished. And whilst these spore clouds didn't actually land in any of my colonies or sectors, they landed right next to them. So unfortunately, we got one in Broken Boulder Mount here, which I'm going to have to remove at some point. We had another one over here in Campers Glen, which is rather a good one that I wanted to get. And then we had one down to the south here, which is where these marauders are. And then another one to the south right here, south of my main colony in Dogmatic Desert. So fortunately, I've managed to train up the environmental conditioning, so I now have hazard removal, but it's obviously going to cost me cosmite and energy and everything else to be able to get rid of them. So not ideal, and I'm going to have to be aware of that moving on. I did train up sort of food development, energy development, but then I went on to covert infiltration, as I just want to boost up my operational prowess and start doing my covert ops a bit more. Although I am aware that I really need to get another doctrine in place and get Dawn of the New Union so that I don't lose any heroes, or I can at least recover my heroes if I lose them. On another note, diplomatic side, I've found out some more traits. So we know that Chin is a pacifist and he likes people that defend other players and don't attack other players. And also Chin and Famita created a non-aggression pact. So as I'm aware that Roxana is kind of a little bit, not necessarily a nice person, and especially towards me. And Famita's an elitist and he wants to see big armies and all this kind of stuff. But because Famita and Chin have done a non-aggression pact, and as I've got a good relationship with Chin, I figure if the more I increase my relationship with Chin, if I can get a non-aggression pact with him, then that puts me in good terms with Famita, and then I only have Roxana or Roxoni to deal with. So that's my kind of plan on the diplomatic front. In fact, as I've got some spare, I can't compliment this term because I've already done it. Because I've got some spare influence, I'll be keeping that relationship going with Famita. The reason why I'm doing well on influence points is I chose as one of my doctrines the emissary, which gives me 100% influence from quests, as I figured that would help push up my influence, keep everybody on board for the time being, and then I can switch them over when I feel that I've got some doctrines that are more useful. Also, I did a deploy monitor because as I was wandering around with one of my little scouts, I managed to find the border, or just find the, here we go, down here, the capital of the Syndicate. So I've deployed a monitor right next door so I can just keep an eye on that. And now I'm going to bring this little guy back because I've gone out as far as I need to go right now. And my other scout is off to the east somewhere, or heading east. There we go. So he's out there all on his own, and I am sending him eastwards so that we can try and find out what is to the east of us. Then I've got a new hero coming to join in, which is great. I'm actually starting to split my armies. So I've got one with my infiltrator back that I lost. So that's fine. And then I've got a hero here already, but I now have a new hero that I can recruit. Once again, once again with a melee weapon, which I'm not happy about. So we'll have to change that, but that's going to cost me loads of cosmite. I gave a Sono shotgun to, in fact I could do a vehicle. So let's do that. So let's just do piloting and vitality 1 and deadly sight, and we'll confirm all of that, and then we'll give him a vehicle and we'll give him the propagator. There we go, because this does a good area of effect damage with the Dissonance. We have to lose this module, so we'll unequip that. I picked up this drone deployment unit from a quest, so that will be good. So we'll have that, and we might as well do the armor melt as well, right? Or we can do the confiscator. Now let's keep on the Heritor side. So we'll do the confiscator. We'll give a secondary weapon of a sono pistol just in case he loses his ship, and we'll confirm that loadout. And then my army commander also has the piloting skill, so we can give him a propagator. There we go, and get him in that ship, or her should I say, because I know this is a lady. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I've got a domain evasion down here. Oh, the other thing that I did as well, which was a little bit unusual, was I could annex another sector to Silicon Valley. Now, normally I would try and keep them together, and I would have gone for this one, but because we've got the spore cloud, it wasn't ideal. But then also we've got a river running through this sector. And if you remember my doctrine, which is Homeworld Reminiscence, colonies gain plus 12 food and plus 4 if the coastal river feature is in their domain. And so therefore we get a bonus there. So I thought I'll take that bonus. That would be great. I'm about to be attacked by some marauders, but my militia power is reasonably okay. So we should be okay with that for the time being. I don't want to grow my militias too fast, as otherwise my upkeep costs are too high. I have my new colony of Karkalos, and I've just annexed this sector here in Temple Mountain because we'll get a bonus to production. And then finally, I've got to go up here and do this quest for the spacers. But it's offshore, but that's not a problem because I can move offshore, and my army is completely... In fact, this is a flying unit, so I think that should be fine as well. So yeah, we should be able to go over water, no problem with all of those. And also, I will be able to pick up some cosmite on the way. There's some cosmite to pick up here, and then there's a cosmite bonus there, and I should have enough influence by the time I get there. So once again, quite a lot of things to say, but then this is the point when we're building and setting up and making sure that we get everything just right. Right, catch up with you in a few. We've now made it to 1024, and as I said I would do, I went up here and did the quest, which gave me some more influence. I picked up that cosmite, and I've moved out the spaces from here, so I now get a bonus to my cosmite production. So all in all, that is great. This area here is a really strong marauder port at the moment, so I don't really want to go there and to use my army or waste it at this stage, because I still need to look at my diplomacy side. Now, what's happened is that I'm still reasonably on good relationships with Chin, but it keeps fluctuating. And the reason why is he's a pacifist, and my ranking is going up as I'm building more units and so forth. And so I'm not getting on too well, and I'm actually getting on better now with Femita. Also, Femita and Raxoni have now made a non-aggression pact, so it feels like they're all kind of ganging up against me. And so I'm going to try and do some pronouncements to Femita and get him on board. And then also I got introduced to the other Shakarn, and isn't he a handsome chap? Look at that. There we go. So that's Vorath. So I'm going to do a pronouncement to Vorath as well, because if all the other species are going to gang up against me, then I might as well get the Shakarn on board. So yeah, and he's a handsome chap anyway. So he's just got charisma, you can see that. So now what we're going to do is we're just going to keep on moving forwards. In the meantime, I'm building another colonizer, as you can see here. I also realized I had a bonus, which is that all units get +1 armor. So should have done this a little bit earlier. Then all the units I've been building here for this army would have got +1 armor. But hey, at least I noticed it eventually. And I'm also doing a thing that's going to drop down my my cost of producing units. But we're going to build this colonizer. We're going to pop it right up here at TT412, 1412. And it's not where the spore cloud is, that's in the other sector. So that's fine. And then that allows me to then expand there. And hopefully I can just go down the route of building an empire. And then we'll see where we go from there. But otherwise, everywhere I'm building all my bonuses and sectors. There we go. So I can build another. So we're going to do industrial exploitation for this one. Yeah, that's right. Because that was taken from me by the marauders. And we've got that bonus there, which we want to grab at some point. Then on another note, I'm busy flying back my unit from here. I'm trying to get him back into my my domain so that I can do these hazard removals and start removing these problematic areas, and also using my influence to try and move out some of the spacers so that I can get the bonuses, such as this one, which is the abandoned quarry, which gives me a bonus to production. So that's what I'm doing there. And then I have another unit, which is my other flying unit. That's right, he was going northeast. So let's stop off there so we get a little bonus to our movement. He's heading northeast. Oh, it looks like we've got a shoreline. So that's going to be handy. Yeah, looks like we have a shoreline here. So that's great news. So that means I don't have to worry too much. I'm going to obviously keep on going north and see whether that's just a little lake or if it's actually a shoreline. Because then that helps me protect my borders a great deal. I just have to deal with the spacers, and I'm on a good relationship with the spacers. We're at peace, and we're at 25. So because I've not met another faction, another NPC faction, it means that I'm maintaining really good relationships with them. So we might even manage integration, in which case then we can annex this sector as well, which would be great. So we'll have to see how that plays out. I may have to buy some units from them. I don't normally buy units from the spacers, but I suppose we could do. We could look at some of their doctrines and some of their mods and see if there's something that we can use that's going to give us an advantage. And that's it. So we'll catch up again in a little while. We've now made it to turn 30, and we're getting to the point where we're almost going to wrap up episode 1, I think, as we're kind of getting ourselves in a position where things will move on to the next stage, because this is very much the setup stage when you're kind of getting in the first 30 to 40 turns. So where I'm at now is my relationship is quite interesting. So I have a non-aggression pact with Chin. I have a non-aggression pact with Femita. And Vorath has attacked Chin, which is good for me because Chin is kind of starting to spread into my territory. You see he's got a colony right there, right on the edge of mine, called Dizril. And I put down Chrome Citadel as my kind of 5th colony. So as you can see, I'm expanding in all directions. It's pretty messy. Not the way I'd usually do it, but I've been a little bit careful because I don't want to upset the spacers. Although I do need to claim this sector. And so I will have to take a hit on that. But I'm having to do my spore cloud removal, which is what I'm doing now with this unit here. So it's doing this one because Silicon Valley's got unhappiness because of it. There's no point in building a recreational dome, because this will take 3 turns to do. It's going to take me 2 turns to finish building this anyway, and then it will still take another 2 turns to build the recreational dome. So by the time this hazard removal's done, we should be all okay. My army, second army that I created, is on its way to deal with this quest down here. Whilst I'm at it, I now have some Deadeye. I gave them the armor melt, which is kind of a must. Because they've got Omni Cannons, I gave them a status effect mod, which also gives it damage to abilities. And because we're doing the Heritor, I gave them a Confiscator as well. We've also got an Infiltrator in the ranks there. I have got quite a lot of Cosmite. So I suppose I can upgrade my helicopter. So we can give them, we'll give them the Hard Light and the Incinerator, I think. Yeah, so we just get bonuses to the laser weapons, and then we'll put a Confiscator on there as well. So then later on, as you'll see with the Heritor, we can then basically apply bonuses to anything that's got Heritor tech in it. So that's done. So that's taken some of them. My unit up here, I think everybody's upgraded. I think I've got the latest mods that I can put on here. Yeah, so that's all fine. I suppose we can always upgrade our recon. We can give him the Imperium Grenade, will be interesting. So this would give +1, so give him some armor, give him some grenades as well, gives him a different weapon. The Xeno defense modules we'll talk about later. Those are more appropriate when we're doing sights, as that the Shakarn have very weak resistances. You can see they have a biochemical weakness, they have an arc weakness, and so therefore they don't handle status effects at all well. And the Xeno defense module is great for doing sights where you're generally attacked with only one type of status effect. So we'll give him the armor melt as well, why not? And then we'll give him a confiscator as well. And I will only mod this unit, not my other ones that are just wandering around doing hazard removals. That would be a waste of cosmite, especially as they may die. Then my flying unit over here, as you can see, he's done his rounds, and it looks like I've found what is a coastline. There we go. Can I get to that far? No. So we now know that we've got an island in this top right hand corner, and we could potentially try and get an assembly settlement on board as well. But the main thing is to do the spore removal, and then on all my colonies, as you can see at the moment, I'm doing all the bonuses. So all the exploitation bonuses that I got from my tier 2. So all of this stuff, production development, energy developments, etc. I'm applying all of those to all the colonies. So I've got food and energy deployment there. Down here, I'm doing all my production bonuses. You can see there's a production one there, and there's a food one. And then I've got the 2 production bonuses, civil engineering and military engineering. And I believe Ivory Fortress is doing the aquatic one, and then the research one. So yeah, this Ivory Fortress is going to be focused on research, as I get some good bonuses to research there. I also get bonuses on the aquatic to research, and I will take Preppy Beach as my next sector. And then Karkalos can annex a sector right now, but rather than take these water sectors, I'd like to take this one, just so it's a river sector, but it's going to affect my standings with the faction, with the spaces, but I'm going to put up with that, I think. All right, so that kind of covers it. I think we'll come back one more time, and then we'll break for episode 1, and then we'll decide kind of where we're going to go. All right, catch up with you in a minute. Okay, so we literally just moved forward 1 turn, and I went to take this deal with these marauders, and I should have done an easy win, and I lost 3 units, so we're going to do a manual combat on this, and then we'll see what happens. But that was not the result I wanted, especially as these guys are modded. Alright, so of course we've got the spore cloud affecting us, so maybe I should have removed that before doing this. These are quite heavy units as well. Although, are we only dealing with like 4 units? Yeah, with our tactical operations, we should be able to handle this. So let's just see what we've got. So we've got the RPR color. So they do loads of psionic damage. So yeah, this is where I should really need the Xeno debilitation, as that's potentially going to cause me all kinds of problems. And I've got virtually no cover as well. So we're going to try and run these guys forwards. We're going to put our hero forwards as well. We're going to pop in an overwatch. We've got the hollow mend as well, which is nice. It's one of the features of the flying unit. So we can put that to good use. We're going to get this guy up front. Can we get a charge out already? No, not yet. So we're going to defense. We'll move our Shakarn into cover along with our guy. We'll put our node down, our boy. We'll put it quite close to us because I assume they're going to move forwards. And then we'll get our Shakarn. We're already upset about something. There we go. And we're going to put them into defense mode. And then finally, can we can't hollow shift these guys again because they're all mechanicals, which is really annoying. I really like the hollow shift ability, but if we can't use it, then it's not too useful. All right, so let's see what we get. So we've resisted some damage there from the poison, so that's good. Right, he's gone into my boy, so he's obviously easy to hit. Alright, so let's see what's going on here. Right, looks like I might lose a Shakarn if I'm not careful. So, what we're going to try and do is let's just check what our status effects are. If we do our replicating restoration, let's see, so we've got effects on pretty much everything. So we're going to dispel all these effects and do some healing as well. And that's going to help. And then we're going to use the hollow mend straight away, and we're going to use it on our Shakarn down here. And try and keep him alive as long as possible. And then we will attack this air unit from our hero, but we can't do it just yet because obviously we use the hollow mend. But we've got armor melt on pretty much all our units, which is good because most of these units, I'd imagine, are going to be armor. So let's check. So this guy, yeah, so he's only got 1 armor left. So if we attack with the Shakarn, oh, there we go. We could take him out in one go. That's great. All right, so that's already improved the situation. Now, we could try and rush this guy with the sono weapon, with the Omni Carbine, and they'll be undercover anyway. So, yeah, we've got to be careful because we've got an Overwatch. So, let's instead... Can I take over this guy? No, I can't affect. So, he's not affected. So, our options... I mean, we might as well just go in front of him then. So, let's do that. And then we'll use our Sonic. And we'll strip some armor, which is good. We get the bonus from the boy. Okay, we triggered an Overwatch. Now, here we go. We can remove the... there we go. So we can give them some devotion. You can use the essence. It re-gives them back their abilities. They can essence focus. So we might as well do that as well. And now we can do our damage. And as you can see, bang, that's much better. So there you go. Good use of the Heritor there. Using our essence charges to the max. And we're going to run this guy undercover because he's not much use. And we'll just take a pop shot at this guy. And now, there we go. We did a little bit of damage. It's a start. And let's move on from there. Right, so we got poisoned. Okay, those guys got flanked. Well, it would look like we were going to lose a unit, so let's see now what we can do. So our Heritor should be able to... Oh, in fact, we can do most of the damage with the Sono Repeater. There we go. In fact, I can do a Dissonance, and that's going to... Unfortunately, that's going to hit my own people. Or we've got Sonopulse, or we can do the Sono Repeater. And we can call our Insider as well. We might as well call him so that it gives us 1 extra unit that can then shoot. Unfortunately, that uses all my action points. I should have done that in the first round, but it gives another target. Now, did we use... No, we haven't used him yet. So let's get the Siphon on this guy, and then we will get our little guy up the back here to take a shot because it's flanked. Once again, we're stripping armor every time. And now, hopefully, let's go around. Can we get this guy? There we go. So we can use our Sono Frequency there. Good. And now, we've just got this 1 unit to deal with back here. We've got our operations as well. So, we have got poisons, but I don't think it's worth using our Replication Restoration, because it's only going to affect 1 effect. So we might as well just go. We could do Condemn to Drain. No, we're going to go straight for a Laser Strike and just go for lots of damage. I think that's going to be a great move. You know, we don't have Overwatch with our Raiders. We can consume our Essence, which we'll do on the next turn. So we have to believe we're under cover. We've got some cover. So what we'll do is we'll go into defense mode. We'll let this guy make his move. Alright, and it's now our turn. Let's move this guy forwards. Let's get a boy on there straight away. So that will increase our damage. Perfect. Then we'll get these guys to come round to the side and do a Sonopulse. And it's flanked. Alright, I think we're going to do this. I don't think we're going to have an issue here. Can we run these guys? And we're not going to get a good shot, so I want to make sure that we definitely take them out. So let's move our hero forwards. And the hero should be able to take the shot without any issues. There we go. Okay. That's it. Alright, job done. So we definitely lost some raiders. I don't think we lost anybody else. There we go. So that was a better result. We lost 1 raider. But that was good. It was good because you saw the example of me using the Heritor there in a way that boosts the abilities of all my units, and using the essence charges. So I can now annex this sector, which I will do for Karkalos. We've got the spore cloud again, but we'll get rid of that in one turn because we'll just move there with my flying unit or in a couple of turns. And we'll make sure that what we'll do is we'll build a recreational dome. There we go. We might as well do the production bonus as well just after that. And I think that is a good time to wrap it up. Because we will then, I think we might go for sectors. Although I'm going to have to go to war with somebody. But you can see, I mean, I don't think anybody else, I mean, Disrael, I mean, the Kirko are in a bad position right now. Because he's at war with two people. So he's at war with Vorath and with Femita. So I could, and I've got a good relationship with Vorath and Femita as well. So I could potentially break my non-aggression pact and go after the Kirko, and that would allow me to expand a great deal. But we'll have to see that in the next episode. Hope you enjoyed that. Give me a like if you did. You can dislike too. As always, please subscribe, especially for Planetfall content, as I do produce a lot of Planetfall content, as you will see from the channel. Hit the bell icon if you want to get notifications of new release. And finally, I stream on Twitch, and I stream Planetfall on a Saturday night. I normally stream other sci-fi games on a Wednesday night. Go to frostysop.com and you will see all of my schedule and all of my various social media links and channels, etc. Thank you very much for watching. Until the next one. Bye.